Erev Tov. We're in Derech Hashem, Perek Sheni. Right away in the beginning, Chelek Aleph Perek Sheni. And as we said, the whole Chelek is called Yesodus HaMetzius. He divided into 4 parts. The first part is called Yesodus HaMetzius, the fundamentals of all that exists. And last week, the first subject we spoke about was about Hashem. Babore, Yisborach, about the Creator. And just to sum it up, he said in the last few lines that we know 6 things about Hashem's essence, and that is His existence, which means the first was always, will always be. He's the cause of all creation. Nothing else exists besides what He wills to exist. Second one was His Shleimusa, perfection in every way, that we couldn't understand, or we cannot understand absolute perfection, and His necessary existence, and independent existence. Pshituso means His simplicity, which means that He's not in any way parts or even different kochos, but all one. And the last one was Yichudo, that His uniqueness only one. And that's all we know about Hashem's essence. So we elaborated about that last week, and now after we know about Hashem, the rest of the Sefer is all going to be about our Hashem's relationship to everything else besides Him that He created, which is all creation. And the name of this parak is called B'tachlis Abriya, the purpose of creation. So the subject in itself, the name of the subject, is something which not all the Kadmonim, not all of the earlier sages and after Gemara, that it's not spoken about explicitly as a subject. And the Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim even says that we do not know
why Hashem created.
We don't know why Hashem created the world. We do know that you don't know. Maybe I didn't say it good enough. I didn't say it well enough yet.
But he himself says he gives a reason. He gives the Tachlis.
Who?
The Ramchal.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He's the Tachlis Abriya, but it's a subject which not everybody agreed to say that we could know about it. Even it means the Rambam says, of course, that Hashem says in the Torah that whoever is going to do the mitzvahs is going to have good,
right.
The tov lach. But it doesn't say that that's the purpose of creation. It's like when you hire a worker, you have a job for him to do, so he's surely going to get paid. You tell him, I'll pay you well, it'll be worth your while, but I'm not hiring the worker because I want it to be good for him. I have my issues why I want whatever I want him to do. I hire a plumber, and I tell him you're going to get paid well. I'm not hiring him in order to pay him. So even though it says in the Torah clearly that Hashem is going to give great reward to Am Yisrael, and that's not a question about that. The Rambam didn't question about schar, ba'onesh, and Yemos HaMashiach, Tchias HaMeisim. Surely he puts that into the 13 principles. But he says we don't know why Hashem made the whole system.
Right. Well, we know that Hashem created the world not because He was lonely or whatever.
Surely not.
He did it for us. He did it for
so the Rambam said. So the Rambam says we don't know.
Who said the Rambam?
The Maimonides, Rambam.
Yes, he did it for us.
We'll see. We'll see. Tachlis Abriya. This is the subject. I just want to give a small akdama that not everybody knew this, so to speak.
So it's not for mankind. It's not for us. I mean, it's not for Him.
True, but the Rambam says we do not know. I didn't mean to get off the subject. The Rambam calls to say we do know, but the Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim he says l'tachlis shalom is bakesh. It's not our business why Hashem made creation. Of course, it's going to be good for us, but not that we know But the Ramchal, based on Kabbalah, I think that's going to be a source. Maybe other sources also, and he says the same thing. Opening statement in Mesilas Yesharim that the purpose is to hinei. So the purpose of creation was in order to benefit from His goodness, Hashem's goodness to others. The reason why Hashem there was no other. Hashem created other in order to give that other from His goodness.
That's us. We are the.
Now we have to go slowly. This parak is the way he builds it up. He's building it in the blueprint, so to speak. And we know the end of the subject, and it's us, but we can't talk that language because we don't know the secret yet. Till the end of the parak, we're not going to know who it is. But there's a certain creation that Hashem is making for the purpose of giving that creation goodness. So we have to go with Him to give him a chance to speak. But the way that He's going to speak is going to be very, very slow, and you have to slow down your mind because people are jumping.
That's easy.
And Ramchal is very slow in explaining. It means that he takes one step at a time, and you have to imagine that you don't know anything ahead of it, even though you might. But take it slow and be in the creative, behind the stage, in the creative stage, in the blueprint stage. So he's going to say why Hashem created creation. So right now we're talking at a stage where there was no creation. See that, understand that Hashem alone is true perfection that is devoid of any deficiencies. Hashem is perfect without any deficiency. We said earlier, he says in others form, that it doesn't mean Just he's perfect in our way of measuring it, in our standards, but he's absolutely perfect, which is far beyond our standards, absolute standards. And we don't have any comprehension in that. There's no such perfection like him. Only he is absolute perfection. Any imagined perfection, any perfection that you can imagine, besides his perfection, is not true perfection. It's just relative perfection. It's something which is more perfect than something more deficient than it. It's perfect in relation to something else, but it's not absolute perfection. But absolute perfection is only his perfection. Only Hashem is absolutely perfect. Everything else is not perfect, far from perfect. Whenever you say something is perfect, let's say human perfection, there's such a thing as human perfection, but it only means in relative to human deficiency, but it doesn't mean absolute perfection. Hashem is the only thing which is only being which is perfect in every way. Valkain Biyos chefsa yizborach lehetiv lezulaso lo yaspik lo biyos ometiv k'tzastov ela biyos ometiv tachlas atov hashev shel avruim sheikablu. So when we say in the above statement that Hashem wanted to benefit from His goodness, or at this point he doesn't even say from His goodness, he just says he wanted to benefit. He's prefacing. Before in the opening statement he said a large statement which is going to be explained now. But Hashem created creation. He's in the blueprint stage, so to speak. Not that Hashem went in stages of thinking. That's we're understanding it. That Hashem planned to make a creation in order to benefit it. He didn't just want to benefit it partially. He wanted to give it perfect benefit, perfect goodness. Hashem would not satisfy that desire, so to speak, to benefit with giving a partial benefit. Only to give the ultimate good that the creations would be able to receive, to accept. It doesn't mean that that's what the Bria is able to accept, because Hashem is making the Bria. He can make him more capable. If it's only a limited Kli, it's a limited vessel that's able to take so much good, that wouldn't be the point, because Hashem can make the vessel bigger. Hashem is the one who's making the vessel. So Hashem is making the Bria with the utmost good that it could accept. And since only Hashem alone is the absolute, is the true good, so since Hashem wants to give the ultimate good to this creation that He's going to create, His desire, His will wouldn't be satisfied, so only if He'd be able to give to that creation that good which is in Him, because that is the only true perfect good. So I'll say it in plain words.
In
that
Him.
What?
There's other perfect good, but in Him is only what He can experience. No?
Maybe the word Him is not the same Him. I'm talking about Him with a capital H. Capital H. Since Hashem is the perfect, so when He says He wants to give He wants to give benefit to this creation He's making, He wants to give the perfect benefit, the utmost benefit that's possible for that creation to accept. And Hashem will make that creation as much as possible that He's able to accept. And the good that He's going to give Him is the ultimate good. The ultimate good is only Hashem. So l'chora, Hashem would want to give that creation that good which He has. But the next paragraph continues that it's impossible. But that ultimate, true, perfect good is only possible to be in Him. In Him, capital H, only in Hashem.
So it's like a steering.
So it's right. It's a paradox that on one hand, Hashem wants to give this creation the ultimate good. The ultimate good is only Him, Himself, God Himself, and it's not possible to give that good to a created being. In other words, Hashem cannot make another God. It would be saying that Hashem, in order to give that creation the ultimate good, it would have to make another God, and that is impossible. And if anybody asks, is God not Almighty? So the answer is that's just getting mixed up, confused with the terms. Hashem cannot make another God, because that would be a weakness. That should be anything else besides God. God is ultimately one, only one such being who's Mukha Chametzias. In other words, that creation He's going to make is going to be dependent on Him. So it's that independent, intrinsic existence which God is. God cannot make another God.
No, but to give Him the ultimate good.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that you have to make another God.
The ultimate good. So He says the ultimate good is only Him. The ultimate good is God.
The ultimate good, but you don't give Him the possibility to create other things.
No, but that means that it's not God.
You can give Him the ultimate good which Kadosh Baruch Hu has.
But the ultimate good which Kadosh Baruch Hu has is Him. It's not possible to separate Hashem's goodness from Him. It's something which is intrinsic, impassable, like we said before, b'pshituso. It's something which is beyond any created being. If it's created, it's really not going to be anything which is going to be that good.
But the Rab once said, and this bothered you very much, that there are people who are saying that the neshama is mechelik mim'akal.
Right. So it's surely not. Right. So it's surely not true.
Are you saying right now, and I'm questioning you? I'm just asking. You saying that there's good which is inseparable from Hashem? I
Yes.
Say no. Hashem created a good that can be utilized by man in his limited experience, because he is a limited being, and therefore the good that Hashem imbues in him is a godly given good, but it's not God's entire good.
So that we're holding back. We're holding that's not good enough. The point is trying to make is that that's not good enough. When Hashem is planned to give the ultimate good, you're just saying that it's not the ultimate good.
No, it's
so that's not
the ultimate good for the kli, which is called.
So that's not what. So he's not satisfied with that. That's what he's saying. That Hashem gives the ultimate good. He wants to give the ultimate good, which is Him. You're saying, so don't give the ultimate good. You can't. So do the next best thing. So he's not saying that. He's saying that that's
God
Hashem.
Play around with this.
So let's
make a very great experience.
Yeah, but it's still not going to be Him. It's not going to be. You're just saying that don't give the ultimate good.
Okay, but I'm trying to question you on the neshama, which is not God.
The neshama is not God.
Not
surely.
God. So the goodness is not.
So
God.
you're holding it. So you're saying
like
that. No. So you're saying that. No,
equally.
but you're not giving him a chance to speak.
Okay.
The question he's saying is that Hashem does want to give the ultimate good. So you're saying. So you're just saying. So he won't give the ultimate good. But he's saying no. Hashem did want to give the ultimate good. So holding by a paradox right now. The paradox is that Hashem would theoretically want to give him the ultimate good, which is in him, and that would mean making another God, and he can't. So what do you do now? So you're saying, so don't give the ultimate good. But he doesn't say that. And Hashem had a different plan. Hashem had a plan how He's going to give him the ultimate good. But don't get scared. The answer is not going to be that the creation is going to be God. It's not. That's why people make a mistake sometimes. And they say that the neshama is God, that the creation is going to be God. The neshama is not God.
A spark of
Right, so whatever you're going to say, so leave it alone, it's not God. No, it's getting confusing terms.
I agree with that, but I'm just worried about this concept of good now. That's
Right, so you're saying don't give the ultimate good.
You get down to the dvekus in there.
Right, so let's say the answer. But just to get the question straight, is that Hashem...
Going on with you. I'm not denying it. I'm
Yes.
just trying to get it.
Yes, I understand. So you would say, if you would be faced with this problem, you would say that God can't give the ultimate good because that's Him. Okay, so give the next best thing. But Hashem had a different eitzah, so to speak. Hashem is going to have a way how to give the ultimate good to this creation, not making a God and still being the ultimate good. Well, how is that going to happen? But this ultimate good is only possible to be in Him, in God. So how could Hashem give this ultimate good to a creation? Litoer v'shleim v'sahu mitzad hayosim izdabkim bo yizbarach v'yimatzu nene b'tova amitis ahi b'er shevshe lehem lehanas bo. In other words, first the translation and then to explain it. Therefore, God's wisdom decreed that the essence of the goodness, of this true goodness, would be in a way that Hashem would give a possibility for this creation, for the creation, to cleave to Him in whatever way is possible for a creation to the maximum that a creation could do. And then it would come out that even though mitzad atzmam, from their own essence, they are impossible to be considered Hashem's perfection, but mitzad that they are connected to Him, they are described as being in that perfection because they are cleaving to Him. So I'll say it in my mashal. There's a king who has all good, everything, a vast kingdom, and he would like to bestow the ultimate goodness that he could on someone, but he can't give the kingship over, and by giving half the kingship kingdom over is also not going to accomplish that either. So how is he going to give the goodness that he is experiencing to that recipient? The answer is to marry her. If he marries her, he chooses a woman to marry, so that woman is going to be in the enjoyment, in all of his perfection, not because he gave her half the kingdom, but because she's connected to him. In as much as she's connected to him, she is enjoying and perfected in all of his perfections. I think it's very deep, and I saw many some Sfarim that explain the Derech Hashem, and I think they missed the point. The point is not that they're getting a perfection, next best thing. They are going to be connected to Hashem's perfection, because Hashem is going to give a possibility that this creation is going to be able to be connected to Him. Not that the creation is God. The creation is not God, but the creation is going to be given a way to connect to God. In the mashal of a human being, it would be that the man would marry the woman, so she's connected to him, and as much as she's connected to him, she is enjoying or benefiting from his perfections because she's connected to him. Not that she has her own perfection. Her perfection is that she's connected to him, so his perfections is her benefit. She is connected to him and she's benefiting from his perfection.
Not even more, because she's a shutif.
And as much as she's connected, the question is going to be how to connect. But the point that he's saying,
in the matter.
So the words that he's saying is not that Hashem is going to give them a perfection which is separate from Him. And not that He's going to make them God, but He's going to make the creation able to connect to Him in a way that they will be experiencing, so to speak, whatever the word's going to be, or benefiting from His perfection.
Right.
It's mind-boggling.
Okay, but that's the only thing wrong with the Moshe is because he said shuttif. We're not shuttif with God.
There is going to be a shutfis, but it's way down in the Sefer on Das Tunis. Hashem is going to. Okay, we'll leave it off. Let's go with the Seder that he says. We're jumping a lot because he's going very, very slow. No, you have to forget everything now. You have to go with him. It's not fair because you have to go at his pace. You have to no. But when you analyze something, you go from the beginning. If you think that you know it already, if you go, so they're not going to get the fine points that he's trying to bring out. He has to take it slow. He didn't even say what the creation is. You can't say the word Yisrael. We don't know what Yisrael is. No Yisrael. There's no creation even yet. So, but the plan of creation is to make a creation that should be able to be connected to God in a way that creation will be enjoying and benefiting God's perfection. The words are mind-boggling. Now you might say, so that's also limited? He says no, it's the ultimate that it's possible for her creation to receive. So you might say Hashem could have made the creation bigger? No, this is the maximum creation that could have been made, because more than that Hashem couldn't have made. Yes, why not? Because more than that is called the creator already. So this is mamish, unbelievable, mind-boggling, that Hashem made the creation. You don't believe that it's us, because this is us. But we'll get there. But Hashem made the creation, is going to make the creation the utmost, the maximum, the epitome of what a creation could be in a way that it could connect to God. The utmost ability to connect to God in the utmost way of connection. And that way they're going to be enjoying and benefiting from God's perfection. You see the words inside again? Therefore, Hashem's wisdom decreed that the essence of the goodness would be, in a way that will be given to this creation, the ability to connect to Hashem.
I'm sorry, where's the...
I started again from Al-Kain. It starts, the paragraph starts with Hinei. This is, we have the same text. Therefore, Hashem's wisdom decreed that the essence of the benefit, of this true benefit, will be, and with that, it'll be given a way to the creation to connect to Him, to connect to Hashem, and as much as is possible, to connect. And the result will be that even though mitzad atzmam, mitzad the creation itself, it's impossible to have Hashem's perfection, but mitzad that they're connected to Hashem, they could receive, and as much as possible, to be connected to His perfection. And they are going to benefit in that true goodness and the amount that is possible for them to accept. So that's the plan of creation, to make a creation who's going to be able to connect to God in a way that creation will be enjoying and benefiting God's perfection. The mashal is a good mashal, but it's more than a good mashal. It's so much a good mashal that Hashem made the mashal. Means when we talk about the husband and wife, this dveikus, that's the mashal of Hashem and Am Yisrael. But we don't know that yet. We don't know anything about the creation even yet. We have to take it slow, so we can't even talk about it. But the mashal is a true mashal. The Nimsa, now he's going to sum up what he said so far with a little bit more elaboration than he did in the first opening sentence. V'nimsa heyos kavanos yizborach shmo b'briya shabora, to explain over again what was the purpose of Hashem creating creation. Livro mi sheyenene b'tuva yizborach b'osader shev shesheyonabo, to create a creation who can enjoy Hashem's goodness, to enjoy Hashem's goodness. in the way that's most possible. In the way that's possible. The utmost possibility of connecting to Hashem to enjoy Hashem's goodness. Just to notice a small change that he made from the opening sentence to this ending sentence. Yeah. In the beginning he said that Hashem, the purpose of creation was to benefit from his goodness. From his goodness. But now he says to enjoy Bituvo, to enjoy Hashem's goodness, because after we have the secret, so it's not just from Hashem's goodness, it's enjoying Hashem's goodness. When the word from would be mashma maybe that Hashem is going to give him something, but now he's saying what Hashem is going to give him something. You're going to be enjoying, the people, the creation is going to be enjoying Hashem's goodness, bituvo, because they're going to be connected to him. So not that it's going to be independent, that the creation that's going to be created is going to be enjoying some goodness, but bituvo.
That's what we said, Chadish bituvo. It says
over there,
they changed the lashon from the first time to the second. The first time it says uvutuvo and mechadesh,
but it's the same thing. Bitu has butuvo both times.
Right, but with one
mechadesh, butuvo, mechadesh. But it's not answering this point because both of them are bituvo.
What are you talking about there? I'm trying to remember.
Over there, it's talking, but I'm not sure. Is that that when Hashem made the luminaries, Ma'aseh Bereishis, Hashem makes the Ma'aseh Bereishis renewed every day. We say it every day. We say it every day also, twice. That's the first section. Section 1.
Tell me later.
Oz Beis, section 2. V'ulam Gazra Chachmaso. Now he's going to say why it has to be deserving. So far, the way the plan goes, the plan of creation, so it should be that Hashem would create a being that's able to connect to him and should be enjoying Hashem's goodness. But we don't find that's not the way it is. It's not the end of the story. So now he's going to say that for some reason, which he's going to explain, that it has to be that creation is going to deserve that connection. But Hashem's wisdom decreed that in order that the good should be perfect, it should be a perfect good. So it's appropriate, it's proper that he who's going to be benefiting from it, this creation who's going to be benefiting from the connection, should be the owner of that good. It should be his good. It shouldn't be just given to him as a present. It should be that it's his. We'll say it a bit more after he explains it. Pirush, Mishi yikna ato ba'atzmo, v'lo mishi yislav v'lo ato b'derech mikra. He who is going to acquire that good into his essence. I'm just translating the word ba'atzmo a little different than we usually would say. Ba'atzmo we would say in himself. But just to make dagesh, that it means into his essence, and not somebody who that good is going to accompany him incidentally. So these words of ba'atzmo and mikra are really logical terms in the Chachma called Higayon. So there's a word called etzem and mikra. Etzem means something which is the essence, and then mikra is incidental things about it, but not the thing itself, not the etzem thing. So we use the word ba'atzmo in a very colloquial way of just saying himself, but we don't think what the word means. But the word etzem means the essence of the thing, the substance, the essence, integral, the thing which is inherent in itself. So Hashem wants that this good shouldn't be slapped on to the recipient. That's not him, but it should be him. And in order to make it him, it has to be that he deserved, that he earned it. He's going to say in a second that, just say it outside and then we'll preview, then we'll see what he says inside. Hashem's goodness is be'etzem. Like he says in the beginning, that everything about Hashem is not something which is mikri, it's him, his essence. And all of his goodness and all of his qualities, which are endless, are him, inherently. So, man is not that. Because whatever man's going to be, it's going to be not inherently. It's not going to be a him himself. But it has to be somewhat him, which he's going to explain to why it has to be so. But in order that it should be somewhat his essence, it has to be at least that he incorporated it into himself, of his own doing. It wasn't given to him that he didn't do anything for it. If he incorporates it into himself, he internalizes it, then at least it's somewhat inherently him. So the goodness that Hashem is going to make, again, the way to connect to God in order to benefit from God's shleimus, to be connected to God, it has to be that this creation is going to earn that connection. This is some similarity, as much as possible, to Hashem's perfection. Hashem's perfection is inherently, not just incidentally. As you said earlier in the first parak, that because of Hashem's issue, or whatever Hashem is, his mahut, his essence, so all of the perfection is there by necessity. It's not something which happens to be. Hashem happens to have a certain koach, but it's all one and the same. It's all of Hashem's essence. And Hashem is devoid of all deficiencies, not that it just happens to be. His essence is defined as not having any any deficiencies. That's what his essence is, and that cannot be by anybody besides God. This quality is impossible to be by anybody besides God, that his reality should necessitate perfection and whatever the word we remember, maderes, to make impossible or to detract any kind of chesronis. Nothing else besides God is inherently perfect. Maderes is the opposite, to make impossible, to take away. To ma'adir is to make lack. What is the word?
Somebody is
Lost.
lost. That's what that means.
The word I'm sorry, I'm not hearing well.
To be lost.
I don't think to be lost. It means to be missing. Like when you take something away, it's called laha'adir. Ish lo yadir. Nobody should be lacking. Nobody should be missing. So to take that they should be missing chazronos. How does it say by l'cholam b'shem yikra ish lo neda? So nobody besides God could have this inherently, that they should be perfect inherently, and have any perfection inherently. Any perfection that any created being has is only incidentally. It happens to have some quality, but not that it's the etzem being that it has a perfection or missing or not having a chesaron. But at least to be somewhat similar to God's inherent perfection. At least he has to have done it himself. He has to be the one who is acquiring those perfections, even though it wasn't inherent to him, and he has to be the one who is ma'adir, who is taking away, removing those possible deficiencies which might have been possible in him. He has to be the one who's doing it. He's the one who's acquiring the shleimus. He's the one who's taking away from, removing from himself any chisaron. What did he say so far? That in order that this perfect present should be good, that Hashem should give this creation the ultimate good, it's not enough just to make him a creation which could connect to Hashem, but it has to be that creation itself is the one who earned its connection, because or else it wouldn't be inherent. It wouldn't be ve'etzem. And that wouldn't be similar to God. He still didn't tell us why is it necessary to be similar to God. He'll say in one more paragraph. What? That's not the point. Over there it's talking about an avodah. You're supposed to try to make yourself similar to God, but it's still not saying why it's necessary that he should be similar to God. Why is it necessary? There's learning out the ways that you should be good, go in his ways. But we're talking about the creation itself. Why Hashem had to make the creation that it couldn't have been different than his perfect essence. In the planning stage, when Hashem is making a creation, why does it have to be that he has to earn it himself in order to be similar to God's inherent perfection? In order that he should have the possibility to acquire it himself, Hashem decreed and organized that there should be created issues of perfection and issues of deficiency in this creation. Besides that creation, who's going to be the one who's earning it, there has to be issues of perfection and chisaron. And there should be created a creation, that's going to be the creation, that is going to have the possibility to those two issues, that either it could acquire perfection or it could have chisaron, something deficient. And this creation is going to have the means to acquire that good and remove from itself those chesronos, and it's going to do it on its own. And then it'll be called that it is similar. It made itself similar in whatever way is possible to its creator. And here he says the last words, and that'll make that creation fitting to connect. So I think that those words give it away, that the reason why it's necessary to be similar is that there should be a ra'ui lidavek, or else it wouldn't be connectable. In other words, in a mashal, back to the husband and wife, that when this king is choosing a wife in order to bestow upon her all the goodness that he has, by connecting to him, so it has to be some connection of the shidduch, it has to be something that's the way that they're mishtadech, it has to be some connectivity. What would you call it? Similarity in order to connect. So if this creation is going to acquire it in themselves, then there's some ra'ui lidavek. He's going to go on in the next section to say why there's going to be another reason besides ra'ui lidavek. But just to get the hagdara of this paragraph, is in order to be now, after the creation did it itself, it's some similarity of being be'etzem, of seeing inherent, integrally shalem, and then there's enough that it's ra'ui lidavek. But again, the perfection is not going to be from its own perfection, it's going to be from the perfection of God, God's perfection. But this is at least going to give it the ability to connect to God. This whole paragraph this whole section is usually called Nama de Kisufa. It's Aramaic and it means the bread of shame.
And I asked you that, but I didn't want it because
that's what it's called.
No, I knew that. I wanted to ask you, but I knew that you'd say, but we're not there yet.
No, we are. This is it. In different words, this is it. I hope you don't feel like I'm pushing off.
I'm trying to understand.
Now, if it's ahead, so we'll try to say that it's ahead. We'll get there. If it's before, we'll go back. And if it's right here, we'll try to do it right here. So this is really the subject called Nama de Kisufa. That means that it shouldn't be given for what's called a bread of shame. We'll say it in the language usually spoken. Then we'll try to see how it's the same as this. When you say bread of shame, so everyone knows that you got a handout, something for nothing, so then the person is shamed. And that is...
Is that what bread of shame is?
Yes, when you got a handout, that's called bread of shame, that you didn't work for it. If you earned your bread, so then you're not shamed. But if you got a handout, someone gave it to you, and you didn't do anything for it, that's called a bread of shame. The Israeli Yerushalmi in Orla, we learned Orla, so we mentioned this Yerushalmi, that talks about if you take a tree, which has already been past the years of Orla, and you take a vine and you layer it, you
graft it.
Not grafting it. This is havracha, not hakava, but havracha. You're putting it under the ground and it comes up again. They call it in English layering it. You put it under the ground. You sink it below the earth, and then the end of it comes up again, and it starts growing anew. So it's still benefiting from the mother tree, and it starts giving off roots, and it's going to eventually have its own roots, and it's going to be independent. Then you can even cut it off from the original connection, like the umbilical, similar to God's inherent perfection. In order that he should have the possibility to acquire it himself, Hashem decreed and organized that there should be created issues of perfection and issues of deficiency in this creation. Besides that creation, who's going to be the one who's earning it, there has to be issues of perfection and chisaron. And there should be created a creation. That's going to be the creation that is going to have the possibility to those two issues, that either it could acquire perfection or it could have chisaron, something deficient. And this creation is going to have the means to acquire that good and remove from itself those chesronos, and it's going to do it on its own. And then it'll be called that it is similar. It made itself similar in whatever way is possible to its creator. And here he says the last words, and that'll make that creation fitting to connect. So I think that those words give it away, that the reason why it's necessary to be similar is that there should be a ra'ui lidavek, or else it wouldn't be connectable. In other words, in a mashal, back to the husband and wife, that when this king is choosing a wife in order to bestow upon her all the goodness that he has, by connecting to him, so there has to be some connection of the shidduch. It has to be something that's the way that they're mishtadech. It has to be some connectivity. What would you call it? Similarity in order to connect. So, if this creation is going to acquire it in themselves, then there's some ra'ui lidavek. He's going to go on in the next section to say why there's going to be another reason besides ra'ui lidavek. But just to get the hagdara of this paragraph, is in order to be now, after the creation did it itself, it's some similarity of being be'etzem, of seeing inherent, integrally shalem, and then there's enough that it's ra'ui lidavek. But again, the perfection is not going to be from its own perfection, it's going to be from the perfection of God's perfection. But this is at least going to give it the ability to connect to God. This whole paragraph, this whole section is usually called Nama de Kisufa. It's Aramaic and it means the bread of shame.
And I asked you that, but I didn't want it because
that's what it's called.
No, I knew that. I wanted to ask you, but I knew that you'd say, but we're not there yet.
No, we are. This is it. In different words, this is it. I hope you don't feel like I'm pushing off.
I'm trying to understand.
Now, if it's ahead, so we'll try to say that it's ahead. We'll get there. If it's before, we'll go back. And if it's right here, we'll try to do it right here. So this is really the subject called Nama de Kisufa. That means that it shouldn't be given for what's called a bread of shame. We'll say it in the language usually spoken. Then we'll try to see how it's the same as this. When you say bread of shame, so everyone knows that you got a handout, something for nothing, so then the person is shamed. And that is...
Is that what bread of shame is?
Yes, when you got a handout, that's called bread of shame, that you didn't work for it. If you earned your bread, so then you're not shamed. But if you got a handout, someone gave it to you, and you didn't do anything for it, that's called a bread of shame. The Israeli Yerushalmi in Orla, we learned Orla, so we mentioned this Yerushalmi, that talks about if you take a tree, which has already been past the years of Orla, and you take a vine and you layer it, you
grafted.
Not grafting it.
No,
This is havracha, not hakava, but havracha. You're putting it under the ground, and it comes up again. They call it in English layering it. You put it under the ground. You sink it below the earth, and then the end of it comes up again, and it starts growing anew. So it's still benefiting from the mother tree, and it starts giving off roots, and it's going to eventually have its own roots, and it's going to be independent. Then you can even cut it off from the original connection, like the umbilical cord, and that'll be on its own. So the issue over there is talking about when is that? Do you have to start a new orla, or does it continue with the 3 years that already the mother tree had? Is it connected or is it not connected? So over there, the Yerushalmi says that there's a simon to know where its nutrition is coming from. Is the nutrition coming from the if it would have been nurtured from the mother the whole time, so it's still considered a dependent branch. It's not a new tree, so it doesn't have to count orla. But then when you cut off the connection, now it's a new tree. You have to start orla again. Now it was first born. Now it became independent. So while it's connected, there's still also a possibility that even though it's still physically connected, but it also has its own sustenance. It doesn't need the mother anymore. It can live on its own because it gives out its own roots. So over there, the Yerushalmi says that there's a way to see if the new, what would you call it? The new branch, there's a word for it in agriculture, but if the new branch is still dependent on the mother tree or it's independent. If the shoot is independent or it's still dependent on the mother branch. So it says that if the leaves of the new shoot, they face away from the mother tree.
The leaves of the
leaves shoot
in between the new shoot.
Or the new shoot. I think
the new shoot is always going to go that direction. It's the leaves for the leaves in between the new shoot and the old tree. Those are going to change direction.
Okay, I don't know that. You saw it inside.
Yeah.
You know.
Say it again.
Are you saying the fact, or are you saying agricultural fact, or are you saying?
Fact, we tried it.
What does it mean? Leaves in between? You mean you see it's over ground or it's underground?
Like this. The leaves always go like this.
But it's underground. The branch is underground. The one that's
part of the branch is underground. Part of the branch is still connected to the main thing.
Right.
And when it's going on the ground, it's going from the main tree underground. So the leaves are going this way into the ground.
Yes.
But then when it starts getting its own nutrients,
yes,
then the leaves turn around because they're getting from here. So then they start going that way.
Again, so as long as they're dependent from the mother, which way they turn, then they're turned away.
When they're dependent on the mother, then they're going away from the mother.
Turned away. And when they get independent,
so then they turn around.
Turn around.
Then they're getting.
They have their own.
And they do face.
Okay, I'm not sure of all the facts. We'll have to get more a better lesson.
The branch is almost like
Connected.
Yeah. It's because that's where it's getting its sustenance from
So if the
behind.
mother's here, or if it's connected, no, they're always like this.
But they're going to turn around because
What
now
do
it's
you mean
getting the
turn around?
nutrition from
Like this?
from.
Okay, that's for the nimshal instead of the mashal. But the Yerushalmi's point is that the new shoot, when it's independent, it'll face the mother. But when it's dependent, it's going to face away. And that's the famous Yerushalmi that says, "Man da'achil delav delay bois l'stakuli bay." He who's eating that which is not his own, then when the branch is dependent, so it's embarrassed to look at him. That the baby branch would be embarrassed to look at the mother branch if it's living off of it. Once it's independent, then it can look it in the face. If not, it turns away. So that's the famous. It's not talking about our sugya at all about the creation, but that's the sugya called nama de kisufa. He who eats which is not his is embarrassed to look at him. So that is usually how this section is translated to say the reason why Hashem made that you have to earn your good is because it shouldn't be the bread of shame. So everyone has the kasha. Hashem could have. We need a whole world 6,000 years for that bread of shame. We'll take the bread of shame and we'll suffer. The little shame. We'll rather have that than to have to go through all the 6,000 years of all this trials and tribulations. Or they say in a different nusach that Hashem could have taken away that feeling of shame. Hashem could have done that. Hashem gave us a feeling of shame. Hashem could have made us numb to that feeling, and then we could have enjoyed it happily and thinking that we're not shameful. We don't have the shame. Hashem could have taken away that midah. So the answer is that all that means this. The point is not, shame is only a expression of the point of something which is not be'etzem you. It's not inherently you. You don't deserve it. The shame is just an expression that we have in our world of that feeling, of that fact. If it's not you, it's just something which is slapped onto you, so then the human emotion is going to be shame. But take away the human emotion. That's not the point. The point is it really you or not? Is there something which is inherently you or something which is not you? And the point is saying, this is what he means to say over here, that it has to be in a way that is inherently you, not inherently the creation. Not that Hashem is the one who is giving it undeservedly. So that's the point that could also be called Nama de Kisufa, but it really means this subject. Then he goes on in the next section Gimel, to say another reason why it was necessary that this creation should earn its connection to Hashem. The first point he said is that the last words, it should be ra'ui li davek. It should be fitting to be able to connect. Now he's going to say another reason. Besides what we just said in the previous section, that this creation, which acquired perfection, is now going to be fitting to connect to its creator because it is similar to him, which we said till now. By acquiring these perfections on its own, that's actually going to be the way how it's going to be connecting. That's going to be the connection. I don't have a mashal for this, but if it would be appropriate to say in the mashal of the marriage before,
connected to what he said.
Which is?
And if he is going to be Rachom or Tzedek perfectly, then he's more Misamet to Hashem.
But he's explaining why that's so. But it's the actual, and not only Racham B'chan is going to. We didn't but it's whatever's going to be. There's going to be certain shleimuyos that he's going to say that Hashem created certain shleimus and certain chesronos. We do it on our own, and that is going to be the way to connect. In the mashal, I'm saying the mashal of the husband and wife that we were trying to use before. So before we said that the wife should be somebody who's somewhat similar to the king in a way that he should be able to marry her. Also, there's no shaykhs. But also, there's going to. Our world doesn't work that way. But if there's going to be a way that the way that she's going to be acquiring perfections for herself, that is going to actually make the marriage. They get more and more married, so to speak. Now, the mashal doesn't apply. I'm just giving you the mashal just to carry it on. That here, the actual acquisition of these perfections is going to be the way to connect. The purpose is to be connected.
Like the Basar Mamoris, that tzaddikim shem kaimim zoilom shenivo Basar Mamoris. So they are doing that.
But the question here is getting connected to Hashem. It's saying that there's going to be Hashem's going to give you certain shleimuyot, certain perfections to acquire. By acquiring them, you're actually going to get more and more connected to Hashem. That's the connection. Not only that you're ra'ui li davek, but you're going to actually be connected because of that. That's how you get connected. And he explains. Acquiring perfection and becoming connected to God is all one and the same. When you're going to get, as much as you acquire perfections, you're more connected to God automatically. That's what connects you. And he explains why. Since Hashem's essence is the true perfection, his essence, he is true perfection. Any perfection, even any created perfection, is attributed to him like a branch to its root. It means whatever created perfection is in this world. We said before that Hashem is going to, in order to make this thing work, Hashem is going to create inyanei shleimus and inyanei chesaron, certain perfections and certain deficiencies, which we're going to see what they are. We don't know what they are yet. In this arena, Hashem is going to make certain shleimuyot available and certain deficiencies available, and this creation is going to be put in the middle to be able to have the ability to go whichever way he wants, to acquire it and to remove the deficiencies from himself. Those are created things, created shleimuyos, but those created perfections are what he calls a branch of Hashem's perfection. Hashem is ultimate true perfection, but any perfection, even a created perfection, is also going to be something which is emanating from him. As we'll say soon, it's a tolada. Even though doesn't come close, or it doesn't reach, it doesn't come to be the root perfection, which is only God Himself. But it is a result, it's a consequence of Hashem's perfection. Hashem, who's perfect, made those perfections. These are created perfections, but Hashem's perfection is the one who's creating it. The true perfection is only Hashem's essence. If the deficiency that's going to be even in a created sense, is only going to be because Hashem is concealing His essence. The more that He emanates Himself and gives off of Himself, so to speak, that's going to be making shleimuyot. That's going to be making perfections. If anything's going to be chaser, it's going to be because Hashem is not emanating. Any thing, whenever Hashem is illuminating His countenance, that and getting close to Him, that's going to be the root and cause of any perfection that's going to be. And when He conceals Himself, that's going to be the root and cause of any chisaron that's going to be. According to the amount, according to the a degree of concealment of Hashem's face, His countenance, so too is going to be the amount of chisaron. The more Hashem is present, the more He shows Himself, so to speak, the more shleimus there's going to be. The more He hides Himself, the more chisaron there is. Therefore, the point of Hashem making created perfections is that there's going to be a way that we're going to be able to connect to Him. Since the shleimuyot are toladot, are consequences, results of Hashem's perfection, so by holding on to those created perfections, you're holding on somewhat to Hashem's perfection, because it's a consequence, it's a result of His perfection. This creation, which is standing equally balanced between the shleimus and chesaron, these are all created things. A created being has a choice between created perfection and created deficiencies, which are results of Hashem's illuminating and causing that there should be perfection, and Hashem's hiding, concealing Himself, that causes chesronos. By strengthening Himself in these perfections and acquiring them for Himself into His essence, He's holding on to Hashem because He's the source and the root of all of those perfections. The more that you perfect yourself, the more that the creation is going to make itself more perfect. He's holding on, He's connecting more to the source of those perfections. If you get to the epitome of the perfections that are available to Him, He's getting to the epitome of the connection to Hashem. It would result, if He does this, the result would be that He's connected to Hashem, enjoying Hashem's goodness, and being perfected in Hashem's perfection. Till now He was just perfected in the perfections that He did, these created perfections. We'll see soon, once we know the playlist, the who's who, we'll be able to talk more clear. But so far, when he says that the created perfections that Hashem made available, and the more that a person is going to acquire that into himself, he's holding on more to Hashem, because this is only a result of Hashem's perfection. And therefore he's going to be holding on to Hashem, and mishtalem bo, these words are again these awesome words, that a person is going to be perfected in Him, with a capital H, perfected in Hashem's perfection. He's going to be holding on and connected to Hashem, and he's going to be the one who brought it on to himself.
So the only thing that means the mitzvahs, of course.
He's not going to say that. He's not going to say. Not that he doesn't say it here. He's not going to say it at the end either. He's not going to say it, and it's going to be a big question. At the end of it, we have to stop here because it's late. Right. But if you look at just to jump ahead till the end of the parak, he's not going to say mitzvah. He's going to not say never. In this parak, he doesn't say it. In this parak, he's going to say something else. That's what we would expect, but it's not going to be that. So hold on and come back next week again. And the truth is that so far he gave the whole plan, but he didn't say now how is it going to act out? How is it going to play out in creation? Right. He didn't talk about man. He didn't talk about the world. He didn't talk about what's available in the world. He didn't say anything yet. But the next paragraph, the next section is going to talk about who's who in this play, in this creation, in this plan, and then we'll continue on to the next parak, which is going to be about humanity, which we'll get a hint already who's who. But we'll continue again from Oz Daled next week. Yes.